Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and New Capenna's right around the corner, and it's my favorite part of spoiler season!
It's the top 10 Commander cards from New Capenna.
Let's go! I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We got Commander videos for you every single day of the entire year. So if you want to support us, you just got to listen to our little spiel we're about to do because,
guess what? The sponsor of this video is Into the AM. They make these awesome t-shirts, apparel, shirts.
T-shirts.
They're so awesome. We literally love Into the AM. We wear the shirts all the time. Extremely comfy and extremely cool designs.
Styling.
In fact, why don't you take a look at these cool designs? Beezy, what do you got?
Yeah, we have actually named these. This is the fireball blowing a skeleton out of an astronaut, obviously in space. Most of these take place in space.
Yeah, they've very much, Into the AM is all about the space aesthetic. We also have here, one actually not in space, it's Skeleton playing an arcade game, but he got a game over, which is incredibly ironic because he's dead.
He's already dead. Let's not forget alligators swimming through the galaxy, or outer space, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. It makes a lot of sense. These are really what we're looking for. And last but not least, we have Dope Death Tea, which is just actually the name of it. I didn't name this one. Into the AM did.
Yeah, if you're looking to refresh your wardrobe, get some spicy,
swag
talking point shirts, get the Into the AM stuff.
This is swag, as the kids say. Make sure to use our link to get 10% off your order.
That's 10%.
That's Into the AM, Nitpicking Nerds. It's on the bottom. Just click. Don't click that. That won't help. This is a video. You will just pause the video.
Yeah.
Instead, go to the description and actually use the real link.
You spend $100, but with our discount, it's only $90. That's $10.
That's 10%. It's exactly what I told them. And as always with these videos, look out for our mid-thing Maraschiello, where we catch you off guard by telling you about Maraschiello.com.
We will get you.
We will get
every time.
It's our goal. So, hopping into this video, New Capenna, literally pre-release is coming up. I'm super excited. Friday, Saturday, I'm playing both. We got to do the top 10 cards for you. So when you open a pack of New Capenna, you go, hey, I got a card that's good for Commander. We got to tell you those are good for Commander.
Yeah, this is a Commander top 10. It's the best cards in the set for Commander. And we're going to start with an honorable mention. This is weird because it's basically like all 5 of these cards together are better than any one card on the list, but they're 5 cards. So we're just going to put them in honorable mentions and say they're amazing. It's the Allied Triumphs, the Xander's Lounge and Zeotora's Proving Ground, and all that type of stuff. Those lands.
Jetmir's Gardens.
We'll never get the other 2. Rafine's Tower.
Rafine's Tower. Well, what's the last one? We have to get who's the other boss?
I don't know.
All right, we'll never get that last one that's on screen.
I don't know. Sorry, last one.
Yeah, it's not actually the Bant one.
I don't know.
We were just rambling. But yeah, the Triumphs are actually the best cards from the set. But they're not new. We don't do reprints on these lists ever, which is super important. You're not going to see any reprints that are going into here. But I think at the same time, they're essentially reprints without actually being reprints. I also want 2 other honorable mentions. Cards that are really good but aren't going to make the list. We have Depopulate, which is just a good board wipe that we're never going to end up playing because there's a lot of other great board wipes, but it is good. And we also have, what is the X blue draw?
Even the Score. Same exact thing. We're probably not going to play it very often. But hey, it's pretty good.
Because the base rate is good on both of those cards. So you're sitting at a good base rate for the cards, but they're just not going to crack this list. So
let's get to the actual list. Number 10, we got Topiary Stomper. 1 green for a 4/4 Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, and it can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more lands. So downside, but early in the game, it's basically just a Farhaven Elf. It's got a little bit more power toughness. So if you got your Powers Matter things or Ferocious, that is going to be helpful, but other than that, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. But the rate of the card at a baseline, it's just pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be really good in the Goreclaw type deck that cares about powers. There's tons of, like you said, there's tons of decks that just care about the power of creatures. And because of that, this is going to be better than Farhaven Elf in those decks.
Yep.
So you're just going to be happy to have it. It's also like Garruk's Uprising. This is going to draw you a card where Farhaven Elf wouldn't draw you a card.
That's
super
true.
Awesome. All those little upsides just add to a card that's not insane and not something new that we've never seen before, but still pretty strong. And overall, happy to have it because Dinosaur decks are going to love it. Powers Matters decks are going to love it. There's a lot of decks that will say, no, I don't want Farhaven Elf. Yes, I do want Topiary Stomper.
Right, and just like its counterpart that I can't stop comparing it to Wayward Sawtooth, the attacking or blocking thing basically doesn't matter because it won't matter if they can attack or block until you already have 7 lands.
That's completely fair. So going on, we have number 9, which is an offer you can't refuse, which I am a huge fan of.
Good accent.
It was amazing accent, which I'm a huge fan of. This is 1 blue, counter target non-creature spell. Its owner, the owner of the counter spell, gets 2 treasures. I just think this card is incredibly good. BZ's more, it's low. I would have this really high in the list. BZ wouldn't have this on a list, and we would both play test it to see where we actually think at the end. But I think meeting at number 9 is a great place to meet. This card's really good. It's 1 mana, counter non-creature. Holding up 1 mana compared to 2 mana is just insanity. I can't explain the difference in that. It's hard to explain because it looks like
counter spells are exponentially better the more cost you reduce.
Yes, and it's hard to explain that.
I think that was pretty easy.
That you explained it well, but it's hard to actually get it across to people.
It's hard to explain that it's hard to explain also.
You know what? Get out of. I'm just going to push you out of your chair.
I'll take over. I'm really unsure about this exact type of effect. We've never really had a counterspell that gives them mana before, so I'm just withholding some of my hype and judgment until I can play it. But it's definitely a card I'm gonna play. I'm gonna test it out because it seems potentially powerful.
Yeah, it seems very good, and I'm excited for it, and I'm gonna put it in some of my blue decks.
I'll tell you this: it's definitely not terrible.
It's definitely it's 100% not terrible. It's definitely good in some sense.
Right.
Next, we have Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. 1 in Anaya for a legendary creature, cat demon, 5/4. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. And creatures you control get +1/+0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. It takes a lot for a 3-color legend to make one of these lists.
Yeah.
And it is cracking it because this card is insanity. It is an absolute win con. Anytime it's up to that last mode, you have 9 creatures on the board, meaning all of your creatures are just pump 3. They're double striking. Now that pump 3 is a pump 6, essentially, you're getting in. You're going absolutely ham. This card is not only good as a commander, it is also insanely good in the 99.
Yeah, if you have 9 1/1s, and let's say Jetmir can't attack for some reason, that's 6 times 9. It's just 54 damage, right? But all you did was make 9 1/1s. That's all you did, and you just kill somebody. This card is off the charts powerful.
It reminds me. So what it reminds me of is something like an Elishnorn. Obviously, you don't get the negative effect on your opponents, but you can just sit back, wait, play your end of turn, secure the waste.
Yep.
And guess what? Another thing that makes this better than Elishnorn in the command zone. Not that we're necessarily talking about the command zone, but oh my god, this is only 4 mana compared to Elishnorn being 7. This card will absolutely raffle stomp your opponent,
annihilate them
out of nowhere.
Yeah, they can't do anything. Your creatures are unstoppable. They can't even crack back. There's no crackback for the people that survive because they have vigilance.
This card is very, very good. And like you said, they have vigilance. They have double strike. So unless they get you down on creatures, that's all first strike. They can't attack you profitably at all.
This card is so good that I think if it was my commander or if I was relying on this in my deck, I would want ways to stop opponents from casting spells on my turn, just because then you just win. That's just a guaranteed someone is dead right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy with this card. We've been saying, you set up if you have a way to make the tokens at instant speed, you just take a turn, set up, and then slam this. The abilities have haste essentially that you get them right away. This card's bonkers, and it's 3 colors. 3-color cards move down the list because they have to compete with way more cards. You're competing, if you're a 1-color card, you're competing with just cards in your color. If you're a 3-color card, you have to compete with every card in Naya.
Yeah, that's why when they tack Wooburg onto a cool card, I'm just I'm never playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
It's very unlikely that I will ever put this in a deck.
Yeah, let's go to number 7. Unlicensed Hearse. 2 mana for a vehicle. It's a star. Tap. Exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards exiled with it, and it's got crew 2. It just sits here, hates graveyards, and then, as opposed to the other options we're playing Soul Guide Lantern, instead of cantripping later on or exiling all graveyards at once, it just turns into this gigantic thing. And if you got Powers Matters or you're going to wipe the board and then play a cheap creature crew, smack somebody for 12, there's some stuff you can do with this card.
Yeah, it builds up over the game. This card's not bonkers. It's not the best option we have, but certain decks, it will be the best option for certain decks. Obviously, Soul Guide Lantern, Relic of Agendas, I think are both much better cards, but when you can take a piece like that isn't going to synergize with your deck much and turn it into a synergy piece because, maybe you're an artifact creature deck. You care about artifact creatures. Maybe you like vehicles. Any little thing. Like you said, powers. As soon as you can take a piece like Relic of Agendas that won't synergize with your deck and turn it into a synergy piece, I'm in. That's why this card is great.
It's also stickier than a Relic or a Soul Guide Lantern because they're one-time deal. This is just going to come out and they have to kill it or they're going to never be able to do graveyard stuff.
Exactly. This like you said, this targets out of graveyards, letting you always hold it up every single turn and just wait for your opponents to try and get something out of the graveyard. Anytime they target something, you're just going to say, no, it's going to shut off all reanimation for as long as it's on the battlefield.
And while I'm here, I'll stop your target and then take your next best thing.
Exactly. You're always going to take the next best thing, too. And obviously they can cast like a mass. This is weak, like in the super late game where like a mass reanimation spell, you're not going to be able to stop that.
That's where you'd rather have Soul Guide Lantern.
Exactly. But so this card isn't perfect. It does lack, but it does make up for that by being synergistic with a lot of different kinds of decks.
Number 6 is one of my favorite cards in the set, if not my favorite card. I just love the design here. Bumor Gatherer, 1 white for a 2/1. Whenever another creature enters under your control, you scry 1, unless it's the second time that's resolved, in which case you draw a card. So if you have 3 creatures enter, you scry 1, draw a card, scry 1. That's pretty sick. I don't know how this is uncommon. I mean, I don't care. It's just an amazing commander card. Really sweet for white decks or Boros decks. Hungry for the card draw.
Yeah, this card's just, again, like you said, it's really strong. You can only get it once per turn. It kind of reminds me of Welcoming Vampire. And the important thing is, if you can reliably trigger this every single turn,
twice,
it is a good card. Plus, you have the ability, if you can make creatures instant speed for any reason, this will draw on other players' turns. So this is not a card for every deck, but in the decks that you put it in, it will be insane. It will be the card draw you're looking for because it's going to be a creature that draws you cards. And guess what? The decks that want this are going to want creatures. And this thing is a Bumor Gatherer. You play this card, Welcoming Vampire draws because they just synergize. That's all the little synergies you can get out of this stuff.
You can find it with Recruiter of the Guard. This is just, you can get it back with Savine's Reclamation. It's like the perfect cost. Also, Oketra's Monument, Genesis Chamber, all these things, White Mane Lion and all these flash creatures, they're going to let you draw multiple times per turn. Scry 1, draw a card every turn of the game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this card will just perform very well. I'm happy to have these effects on creatures. White is getting card draw, and it's on creatures. So
real card draw.
It doesn't let you. It makes sure you're not diluting your deck with like a Mind's Eye or something stupid. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Those kind of cards where it's like I have to put an enchantment here to attempt to draw cards, but it's like, is that worth it? Because I'm a creature deck. I want more creatures.
There you go.
There you go. Bumor Gatherer, Welcoming Vampire from the last set. In.
Time for another 3-color card.
Well, it is a 3-color card, but actually it's a 5-color card. It's Moxfield.com.
Whoa!
Got him. The Moxfield.com is absolutely amazing. It's the best deck building website for
anyone. Even people who don't play Magic should be using it because here's why. Then you can discover what Magic is. Kind of like learn through osmosis as you build a deck for some reason. I don't know why you're building a deck. But when you do it, then you start playing Magic and you just have the best hobby in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And this website has all the features you could ever want.
And some you didn't even know you wanted.
Yeah, I go back to tags all the time in these videos because tags are absolutely amazing. You just say, this is my card draw section for this, and then you sort by your tags and you look and you can just see, this is how much card draw
9 card draw.
This is how much ramp I have. This is how many lands I have. This is how many MDFCs I have.
A deck brewed on Moxfield will be better on average than a deck brewed anywhere else, because of the fact that you can always see where you're lacking.
It is literally the best deck building website I've ever used, and I will never use another one, ever.
Number 6 is a 3-color card, actually.
It's number 5, though.
Number 5 is actually a 3-color card.
Yes, it is, and it is Broker's Ascendancy. It costs a blue, it costs a green, and it costs a white for an enchantment, and at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on your whole team and a loyalty counter on your planeswalkers, just for a little extra bonus gravy, I believe the Nitpicking Nerds call it.
It's a Johnny Steadfast.
It is, which is awesome. Every single end step. These effects are pretty good, and having them be repeatable for no extra mana is incredibly, incredibly strong. Any deck that is playing any counters, synergies all over the place, like your creatures already want counters, well, let's put more counters on them. We have Hardened Scales over here. We have Branching Evolution over here. This card just goes from being like, it's pretty good, 1 counter every turn. We're really increasing power, especially because we're going wide, to, oh my God, we're going wide and we're putting 2 counters because we have a Hardened Scales out.
Throw a Vorinclex, get 4 counters. And just like all your Walking Ballistas and your Crystalline Crawlers and your Gyre Sages, they're going to go ham. They're going to love this. I like the fact that you get one quote unquote right away. You can't attack with them. But +1/+1 is not really something you'd be attacking with anyway. So you can't attack right away, but you get it right away. So even if this thing dies somehow, then you get at least 1 static benefit from it.
Yeah, unless it obviously dies this spot,
which in case everything ever does.
Yeah, so. Exactly. But like I said, and this is another 3-color card making its way up this list. It's it speaks to the strengths of these cards. Like it's impressive to have a number 5 that'd be mono. If this was a mono green card, will this be high? It'd be even higher than this list because it's an insane card. But it got pushed down to 5. This card is bonkers. So if your deck can't play it and can't take advantage of it, you're gonna love it.
Best Ascendancy.
It is,
which is not saying much.
Is it the best? It might be the best.
The rest of them are pretty bad.
There's some. I mean, I like Teamer Ascendancy.
Riveteers is okay. I was talking about the new 5.
Of the new 5? Oh yeah, it's the new best of the new 5. I would agree with that completely. Up next is the card I might be most excited to put into a deck. I don't have a deck for it, but I want to find one because I'm so excited about it. It's Rabble Rousing. It is 4 and a white. For an enchantment, it has Hideaway 5, which means when it enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library, put 1 under it, face down, exile, and then put the rest in the bottom in a random order. And then, whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, you get green, white, citizen tokens, where X is the number of attacking creatures you control. I am in. I think this card is awesome, and I'm super excited to get playing it.
I think it's pretty good. It ends up being sort of like a cantrip. Once you hit 9 creatures, then you get to cast the card for free. That's what I really want. I want to slam this on 5 or on turn 7 or whatever. Get 4 creatures, 5 creatures when I attack. Then trigger it. Get some sick free spell. Maybe like an Elish Norn or some kind of, power augmenter. That would be insane. Once you do that, you're just sitting pretty. You don't need this card to do anything else. But it will just keep doing things.
Yeah, it'll keep making tokens. Like you say, the free spell is like, mwah. And like it triggers once you have 10. I think we didn't mention that. But yeah, once you hit 10 creatures on the battlefield, boom.
Oh, it's 10? I said 9.
I believe it's 10. But it's on the screen.
One of us is right.
One of us is definitely 100% right. But it's super easy to do. All you do is attack with 5 creatures. You hit it. And you get it right then. This isn't a hard thing to do. You're putting this in decks that's designed to already go wide. Card is absolutely stellar. It makes a lot of tokens. This is a 5 mana do nothing enchantment on its front. So you gotta wait to get something. That means
you don't have to wait very long.
You don't have to wait long. You don't have to wait for combat. But on its face, like when you start with nothing, it's usually like, okay, we really got to get this paid off. And oh boy, are we.
Oh yeah. Let's go to number 3, the last multicolored card on here. It's
this card's great.
Void Rend Esper. For an instant, destroy a non-land permanent, and it can't be countered. This is just kind of like Esper's Anguished Unmaking. Probably just a staple in like every Esper deck ever, just because it's so easy to play. The versatility is great. The fact that it's an instant is like necessary for this card to be good. It's got all the makings of just a really solid removal spell.
Exactly. You're going to play this in every single one of your Esper decks that can play it. I can't imagine if I build something that has Esper in its color identity, I'm not putting this in. We're hitting anything that's not a land, absolutely, and at instant speed, perfect, and it can't be countered just for little, like, I think that's gravy. I don't think that's what really makes this card great, but it is
nice
absolute upside, and I'm absolutely excited to have it.
Is this card better than Anguished Unmaking?
In the decks that can play it, yes. I would say
I think so.
So I think you say Anguished Unmaking is a better card because it fits into more decks.
Well, I just mean like in Esper, what are you playing first? You might play both, but it's like Anguished Unmaking is exile, but you lose 3 life.
In Esper, once we're determinately in Esper, yeah, I think we're playing Void Rend first.
You'd rather not lose 3 and have it not exile.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. I think they're both very.
It's an interesting discussion.
They're very, very good cards. I mean, they're close.
Play both.
It's not like the cards are like one's way better. It's like this one is much better. Next, number 2 from the whole entire set is Body Launderer. It is 2 black for a 3/3. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you connive, which means you draw a card, then discard, and if you discard a non-land card this way, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And then, when it dies, you get a non-rogue creature back from your graveyard with power less than or equal to his power. Okay, we're in for this. This is a reanimation spell. This is a payoff for your death triggers. Your any aristocrat strategy absolutely wants this card.
It starts at 3 power. That's what's so great. I mean, this could be a 0/3 and we'd still think it's really good. But it just starts at 3. So already, if you just play it and sacrifice it right away, this is best friends with the Sack Outlet. You play this in tandem with Sack Outlet every time. So you play it, sack it, all right, just get a 3 power thing, which may or may not have a higher or lower cost. Whatever you need, just right into play for no mana.
What I really love about something like Body Launderer is there's a million decks out there that just already want this card.
Oh, yeah.
It's not asking much of you. It's asking you to play a strategy that is extremely prevalent in the format.
Don't play Rogue Tribal. That's what it says.
It says don't play Rogue Tribal, have Sack Outlets. How many black decks have Sack Outlets? What, like probably at least 10% of them? That's insane to think about.
Yeah, there's a big chunk. This card's amazing. I want to try it out. I want to play it. it's got so much potential because it doesn't exile itself like a lot of these other, spells sometimes do.
Mm-hmm.
You could just trade this for a creature. Like, what if you're trading this for like a Karmic Guide? Well, Karmic Guide just gets this back, and then this gets back Karmic Guide, and it's just like you're just living the dream, and then you're going to get some dice triggers too.
I mean, this is an infinite loop. I mean,
yeah,
Sack Outlet, Body Launderer, and Karmic Guide is just an infinite loop. There's nothing else to it. You just created a loop and you won the game.
Depending on what you have in Mono Black, you could do it with Phyrexian Delver as long as you have ways to gain life.
Yeah, the card is absolutely amazing. It's so happy.
So strong. I mean, this is like the mythic.
And on top of all of that, like, we didn't even really go over this part. It draws and discards. It fills your graveyard
with the things you want to get back.
With the things you want to get back. It makes itself bigger. It's annoying. Oh, this card's great.
Even if it had no, second ability, we don't really see that draw discard when a creature dies. You could just go end of turn, sack my entire team, trigger, draw 6, discard 6, put my best 6 things I have in my hand in my graveyard, and then untap and just go like Living Death.
Yes. Oh,
so many ways to play this.
Chef's kiss. Card is chef's kiss.
I think it's close between number 2 and number 1, but we're going to go with number 1 as it's all the patrons who make these videos possible. If you want to join them, there's a link in the description for you, but they are the lifeblood of the channel. We don't exist without them. We wouldn't even have fun without them, and they're our best friends in the whole wide world, and we love you guys.
Thank you guys so much for the direct support via Patreon. Again, seriously, you guys are freaking awesome.
Yeah, we'll thank you every single video if we have to.
We won't even stop. We're never going to stop. In fact, we have to get on the actual number 1. Professional Face Breaker.
2 in a red for a 2/3 human warrior with menace. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure, sacrifice a treasure, exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn.
All right, it's worded in the best way. If we hit each opponent, we get 1 treasure per opponent we hit, meaning we can get 3 treasures easily. This also gives you a good way to use treasures. Say you make, like, some of these, like, you make a ton of mana with this card, just like, it reminds you of Grim Hireling.
Yep.
You make a ton of mana, then gives you a way to use that mana if you don't have any other way to go. And what's, like you said, you make all this mana. All right, I'll sack 1. Now, if I need to, I have mana laying around because it made a ton of mana.
Yeah, this card is really sick. You need to be able to deal combat damage, so you need flyers or tokens or maybe even double strike, trample type stuff. But once you get it, just throw this card in your deck because it's red card draw. Like, there's not a lot of red card draw. This is like, because this is impulse draw. But it's enough of it that I would say this constitutes as red card draw.
Yeah.
It's not like Reckless Impulse. I don't think that card is red card draw.
I agree with you completely. This is absolutely. I think Reckless Impulse is red card draw, but I think this is more. So it's like
I'm comfortable just saying it is not impulse draw. It's like basically just card draw.
Yeah, it's insanely strong. We want Professional Facebreaker in a lot of different decks. I don't think this is just stuck to like mono red. It might even it makes its way into like some blue decks where you have a ton of flyers.
Yeah,
it's like it's just good there, and that's saying something because it's card draw is impulse draw compared to regular card draw, which usually a blue deck would ever want.
But it makes mana too, so it's whatever you need out of those 2 things.
Exactly. You choose which one you want. Do you want the mana or do you want the card draw? Either one. You can just pick and choose. I am super happy to have this card. I'm putting it in my Lelia deck where
You want to impulse draw and hit players?
I want to impulse draw. I want to hit players. I want to do all of that stuff. Plus, one of the things the deck is lacking is creatures that impulse draw.
Well,
give me it.
There you go.
I absolutely love this card, and I'm my Lelia deck is like salivating.
They also gave this menace, so if somebody only has 1 blocker, this can actually get in there.
And it can this card will come down on turn 3, and there will be plenty of times when it will just be able to attack and get damage in.
And I mean, obviously, like Treasure Matters decks, get this in. I mean, this is like better than Goldspan Dragon.
Also, on top of all of that, like say you're struggling to like deal damage, treasures are prevalent in the format, and like most decks play like maybe 1 treasure card at least. Like,
usually it's Dockside Extortionist.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say most decks play 1. Most decks this could go in can play them. So if you have like a tiebreaker, play the treasure card. Why not?
Sure, and that's completely fair. I actually didn't think about that. Treasures are prevalent around the format. You will see them a lot, so this is just going to synergize with other random cards in your deck.
Yeah, are they broken? Treasures are broken, right?
No.
They're not. Yeah, not at all.
We'll stay tuned in 2 weeks when we go off about treasures. New Capenna is a solid set. I think the bottom of this list shows that New Capenna is struggling a little bit, especially Topiary Stomper hanging out there, making a top 10. It probably wouldn't make the top 10 of most sets, but I think that at least the top 8 are like, wow, these are good Magic cards. You're going to see them in lots and lots of Commander decks. And we actually do top 10s for every single set, including Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So go check that one out if you haven't and see what our top 10, see if it holds up after a couple months of it being out. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.
Bye.